Hi, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed the conference and the day so far. Let me just put on my mask here. When I told my wife that I was speaking at IDSA, she gave me two things: this lovely new shirt, which I think is quite great, and a color-matching medical germ mask, which I thought was odd, and you probably do too. Until she told me that she Googled IDSA and found the first hit was the Infectious Diseases Society of America. And as a branding and marketing guy, she thought that was really funny. So did I, especially as a germaphobe in all of this talk about Ebola lately. But anyway, seriously, thank you very much for inviting me here today. I appreciate it. And my goal is to share with you some of the lessons I've learned narrowing focus of my firm. Industrial Brand is a brand strategy, naming, and communications design consultancy. We focus primarily on servicing the architecture, engineering, construction, and related industries in the built environment sector, otherwise known as AEC. Probably some of you have heard that phrase. But we weren't always so focused, so I'm going to share with some of my story with you today. By the way, I was the chair of the 2010 EcoGrada International Design Week in Vancouver, and I know how hard it is to produce a conference like this, and so if everybody could give a round of applause to Steve and his entire team, they've been working really hard. So, as Steve said, I am a Canadian. I am part of the international contingent. I come from Vancouver, where one doesn't become covered in sweat 5 minutes after stepping outside. Basically, I've been told I'm a friendly, unarmed American with healthcare. But as a proud Canadian, maybe I should stick to the stereotype and apologize now. I'm sorry. For the past 2 decades, I've been working as a brand and communication designer. As Steve said, I'm a fellow of the Graphic Designers of Canada, a design educator and a writer. And I've had the privilege to travel the world to represent the design sector and the design industry, and Canada abroad. I'm also the producer of Creative Mornings in Vancouver. Does anybody go to Creative Mornings here in Austin? You should. Go look up creativemornings.com. As an interloper among you fine people, it's been interesting to sit in some of the sessions the past couple of days, and it's been giving me a lot to think about as I think about my own story. We've heard references to a mixture of full-service design approach. Yesterday, Rob Van Varek from Michael Graves claimed being a generalist and benchmarking from various industries helped, and unrelated products helped his team develop that fantastic wheelchair. I think they call it the Prime. But of course, we don't all work for large design firms that have such a practice. For example, I really appreciated the honesty and vulnerability that Maria Busse from Pocampo showed when she admitted that owning a design business was scary and caused her to lose sleep at night. She said it felt like it was fleeting and not something she could stay on top of. If she didn't stay on top of it, it would roll over on her and crush her. I also appreciated the talk earlier today from Joyce Thomas about the state of education and role of business acumen and entrepreneurship in the design industry and education, right? So I suppose the big question on my mind as I begin my talk and think about the theme is, what do you all want from your design business? And what do you want to be known for? I've been thinking about these things in my career a lot lately. I will never forget the moment that I sat in the AGM for the Design Society chapter in my town, where we had on stage a very famous Chicago communication designer. He's very well known, as the keynote speaker, giving the crowd the usual portfolio showcase. Look at how awesome I am. Look at how talented I am. Look at my beautiful work. I don't want to do that for you today, by the way, because I'm not really that awesome. But anyway, as his talk proceeded, I became quite agitated by the flippant and arrogant way he described the process behind his work. His research was negligible. Measured results were not a priority. In fact, he seemed totally giddy, as though he was letting us in on a secret that most of his clients were dumb and they didn't really care much for upfront design thinking and process. And that really got my blood boiling. During the Q&A, he admitted that the secret to his firm was being full-service generalists, offering just about any kind of visual communication or marketing design to any kind of size or caliber of client. He revealed his team frequently pursued free pitches and that the clients who hired them didn't see much value in in the research and front deep thinking, so they focused on making pretty things that won awards. He literally said he didn't care if his design worked much or not and didn't know if they did, but wanted to create beautiful stuff. So he worked for anyone who'd throw money at him. That was irritating. As I complained to a friend of mine in the seat next to me, he turned to me and he said, "Mark, stop complaining and do something about it." I made 2 vows that night. One was to get involved in my local design association. 2 years later, I was the president. And the other was that I was going to take control of my business, the kind of work we did, and who we worked for. Obligatory demo reel video. My design firm, Industrial Brand, started 17 years ago. I'm now 24 years in the business. As a full-service graphic communication and digital design firm that worked for a wide range of clients, over the years we created identities, stationery, collateral, advertising, direct mail, environmental graphics, interfaces, user experiences, and websites for startups, mining companies, restaurants, real estate developers, large corporations, multinational brands, and retailers. A whole bunch of work we can't even talk about or put in our portfolio. I think some of you can relate to that. This old demo reel we used to use to show off our capabilities to prospective clients. Looking at it now, it seems schizophrenic, unfocused. We don't even use portfolios in this material anymore. We designed books for publishers, packaging for food and beverages, album covers for musicians, annual reports for corporations, catalogs for manufacturers. Basically, we were design whores. And while I've loved many aspects of running a design firm, it has been very hard, and there have been times I really felt like calling it quits. However, as the years progressed, as we gained confidence and knowledge and started to focus on brand strategy, naming, and identity only, and the roles that they play in organizational change, we found this work very rewarding, and when you could get the work, it paid well. The trick was how to get it with so many people claiming expertise in this space. You don't need to see the rest of this, honest. But what do I know about the industrial design industry specifically? Well, more than most, I have worked with many, but not much perhaps. In preparing for this session, I spoke with a number of industrial designer friends, and I discovered we share many of the same concerns about the state of the design industry. Rapidly changing technology, democratization of design, fees being driven down, crappy RFPs that treat design like a commodity, speculative competitions, crowdsourcing, poor design education programs, cranking out ever more competition. Basically, it's a tough time to run a successful design firm of any kind. As we in our firm matured, we saw an opportunity to ask better questions of our clients before undertaking the work, to make sure that we had the right clients and to aid in the work being more effective. And over the years, we became 70% strategy, 30% design, which was a reversal of when we started our firm, and we're a predominantly design-focused firm. For us, we found staking a claim and focusing our practice on a particular offering and a vertical really helped us gain that control back of our clients, of our revenues, and of our business, and most importantly, of our sense of satisfaction and self-worth. Was it easy? Hell no. It was difficult. So why specialize? Designers have talked about it for years. The word seems to strike terror into the hearts of industry leadership. Many tell me that they avoid specialization because a well-trained designer's process will lead to the best solution every time. It's not about past experience with a product or a sector or a technology. Bullshit. Others argue that too narrow a focus will introduce gaps in studio workload, exposing the business to cash flow issues and impede growth, especially if all can be tackled through a smart strategy and commitment. The arguments in favor of being a jack-of-all-trades generalist, including the broader audience, flexibility that comes with being able to offer diverse services to suit any sort of challenge, actually seems counterintuitive to me. They sound like expensive and consuming things to juggle in a highly competitive marketplace where everyone is offering full-service design at increasingly lower rates. The one aspect of generalization I appreciate most is that it does lead to a better foundation for specialization. As we considered a focused approach in our practice, the advantage of specializing seemed to lie in our ability to see what was really going on with our clients, the culture of the organization. We were able to identify the real issues and guide them toward authentic expressions of who they are. We found our clients frequently lacked the ability to recognize patterns, anticipate issues, or see opportunities relating to marketing or branding issues. We were able to do this with the objectivity of an outsider, but with the added efficiency and perspective of being experienced in branding and their business type, ultimately repositioning ourselves as specialists became a sales advantage. If you're getting indications that you are losing sales to competition that seems similar to you, want to avoid, derail, or get the inside track on RFPs, it might be time to take a closer look yourselves. We found we were able to demand higher fees again, charge for the important front-end work instead of focusing on tracking hours or the tactical deliverables. But what are we really talking about? We're definitely not talking about branding. I have grown to sort of hate the word branding, if I'm honest with you. People who talk about it endlessly kind of sound stupid, actually. I'd even say that many designers I speak to don't really understand the difference between branding and marketing as it relates to their business. As much as all of us here may love design and the creation process, we attend conferences like this often because we want our businesses to thrive. We would like to learn how to run our businesses better. We need to get better at selling our services, and I doubt anyone here would disagree that selling design has gotten harder in recent years. For us, the most effective way we increased control of our business was by positioning our firm through a focused offering and a specialization. I've heard arguments like specialization will evaporate inspiration and hinder creativity or innovation. Staff will get bored and leave if they do the same thing too often. Talented young designers won't join for worry of limited career growth. Building a firm on a specific specialty will be risky due to market volatility. This is fear-mongering, folks. It's based on a lot of what-ifs, a lot of maybes, and a lot of conjecture. What we're really talking about is marketing, a business, which ultimately provides control. And the best marketing is through clear positioning based on a real need in the world, not just cool ideas or stuff we like making. Positioning reduces competition. So for a few years for us, we started incrementally tightening our messaging around expertise in brand research, strategy development, brand identity design, naming. But in time, everyone was calling themselves a brand designer, and frankly, isn't a design firm calling itself specialists at branding sort of like a fish saying it's an expert at swimming? I mean, big deal, like big deal. As we looked at our own branding, we realized we were demonstrating some of the same bad habits that many of our clients so often do, and perhaps you do as well. Sharing who we are, what we stand for, our vision, our personality, our process, our passion. These are all important things. This is all part of brand building and awareness, but they are ubiquitous, and they are rendered meaningless as rhetoric in the marketing noise that permeates the industry. Everyone talks about this stuff. Furthermore, we realized the branding is not the same as positioning at all. We did have a provably superior offering in terms of our naming process, deep experience in brand essence and application framework, and unlike most competitors, we delivered brands as comprehensive living ecosystems via a cloud-based digital asset management toolkit that we use to allow our clients to control and manage internally their own brand destiny. We needed a bolder position, though. Something we could own, something that would reduce our competition and open up other markets. We needed to stake a claim in a deep expertise that would position us as the confident and respected strategy and design consultants we knew we were. So we chose the AEC, Architecture, Engineering, and Constructors, the built environment. But we knew what our horizontal was, but how did we choose that vertical? For years, we'd worked with professional service firms of various kinds, from product firms like yours to lawyers and accountants. But it was when we took a good hard look and evaluated the state of those sectors that we discovered an opportunity. The architecture, engineering, and construction industries are undergoing increasing business challenges. Many of the same challenges and issues that we are facing as designers, actually. We looked at the work we were doing, what motivated us, what we knew, what few others in our industry and market were focusing on, and what we were really good at. With significant changes happening in that sector, especially relating to identity and marketing to increasingly younger audiences with different needs, we discovered there was a real need for our naming and brand design skills within AEC. And in terms of profitability and sustainability, private and public development was a recovering economic sector with some opportunities. We found a real need in the world. So we made a choice and we aimed our focus. In order to really focus our practice, we had to learn to say no, which frankly goes against every fiber of my being as a designer. A huge step for us was to revamp our entire brand to support our new focus, which included removing over a decade's worth of content from our website and marketing materials, and even saying goodbye to my cherished tagline, which was "Where Ideas Work," which I loved as a clever sort of double entendre. If you think about it, it'll make sense. But it meant nothing to our prospects. They didn't care. It didn't tell them what we did. Our new positioning statement simply was, industrial brand, realizing brand and marketing potential for built environment professionals. That's it. There was no turning back at this point. We were claiming publicly to be the brand design team for that sector, period. Now we had to walk the talk and decline work when it didn't fit or distracted our team. Early on, it became apparent we were going to have to create a set of real criteria by which we could judge and vet opportunities. We did this by setting up a set of rules that all happened to start with the letter P, so we call them the 6 Ps. I don't have time to go into them in great detail, but briefly they are people, purpose, potential, profit, perception, and you guessed it, positioning. The house rule is that during any phase of engagement, if a member of our staff believes the clients aren't people who respect us or trust us, or we wouldn't enjoy working with them, if the work has no lasting value or isn't something we'd be proud of, if it isn't well suited to our team's abilities or current availabilities, can't be done profitably, and profit, of course, can be defined many different ways, has the potential to reflect poorly on us, or there's a strong gut feeling that something is amiss, or if the client project simply won't enhance our portfolio so that it furthers our expertise and allows us to market towards the built environment sector, then we would politely decline the work. As our positioning strengthened and our confidence increased, but we had to be careful to balance opportunity with capacity and not ramp up every time we got busy. Of course, not also to say no to too much, so that we ended up with no work at all to feed the machine, as they say. And we didn't want to increase overheads and drive efficiency down and profit with it. Like many of you, we still fight the urge to say yes to all work that comes through the front door, even if it doesn't match our positioning, because it means we can stay busy and cash positive. But the more we focused on our specialization, the more the right opportunities came along, and we're able to be more selective about who we work for and what we became known for. We used to do a lot of restaurant branding, but after we focused, we started referring opportunities to friends who specialized in that sector. And as a hardcore foodie, I do have to admit a little bit of jealousy of a friend who I've referred a bunch of work to, and he's built up a pretty slick docket of clientele in that sector, and he eats like a king. And I like to eat. Another step we took to solidify our positioning was to reorient our pricing structure so that it emphasized the benefits of our consulting expertise up front, not the deliverables at the back end. So, much like architects themselves desire to be allowed to understand context and challenges before designing a thoughtful building, or engineers don't commit to budgets or give recommendations without all the facts and deep thinking required to solve those complex problems, we created a diagnostic audit stage that we call phase 0. Not phase 1, phase 0. We basically stopped answering the question, what should we do, or how much should it cost, and refused to do any of the front-end research or thinking required to scope out a project for free. I'm not exactly sure how it works with industrial designers, but those I spoke with confirmed this happens often enough to be troubling. We just didn't see why we shouldn't be paid to do the research, learning, and deep thinking required to thoroughly understand a company, its background and situation, goals and objectives, and what's really going on inside the organization. This should happen before any assumptions or recommendations are made. So we attached a reasonable minimum fee to this phase, which actually was great, because if somebody couldn't afford $20,000, they just wouldn't even bother me. Perfect, more control. I'm not wasting my time on inappropriate, unqualified prospects. We offered all of the findings and all of the recommendations of this phase with a money-back guarantee. If you come to us with a problem and engage us, and you let us do all of that work and get intimate into your business, and we come back and we report back to you what we can do and what it looks like and how we can do it, and you hate us, we'll give you your money back and walk, because I don't want to end up down the rabbit hole with a client that I'm going to not enjoy working with just because there's money attached to it. We stopped pitching, almost. Can we all agree that RFPs basically suck? Wouldn't it be great if companies found a smarter way to hire creative partners? We tried to stop altogether. While we mostly ignore the bid boards these days, we accept invitations to occasional RFPs, but only when the project's one we really want, and the client has basically told us it's in our slots, in our sector, and the client has basically told us that they really just want to hire us, but they have no choice. They have to do this RFP thing, which is just more proof of how flawed they are, really. In those instances, we basically just hijack the whole process. I'll be honest. And sometimes I swear we win the work because we refuse to play by the rules. We just send a generic firm profile along with a killer case study of a real-world example that breaks down our process as applied to the project, similar to theirs. We offer them the phase 0 project to find out what's really going on, if the problem can be solved, with a money-back guarantee, and oftentimes we win the work and we've done almost nothing. though you may not have the same luxury in your business yet. I'm sure every one of us, if we all as an industry work towards that, we could really make an impact on how the role RFPs play in our business. We found our audience, and we found an audience that we could actually reach. As we focused our practice, our marketing strategy and tactics changed as well, and it became much easier to reach future customers. Previously, our potential audience was so huge, it was hard to even know where to start to invest our marketing efforts. While it's true that full-service design firms can work for a multitude of clients, for almost anyone, it's often like pushing wet rope uphill to get their attention, as all your competitors are marketing to the same people. It was noise. As we focused our practice, we were able to identify and target specific communities of prospects with content marketing, with fairly long sales cycles. By the time a prospect picked up the phone or sent an email, we'd already gotten their attention through a variety of means and likely had a personal relationship with them. I don't have time to list all the marketing and business development choices we made over the last couple of years, but I'll briefly say that through lead generation, marketing automation, targeted online marketing, content marketing, and publishing and AEC publications, and getting involved in their community, which seemed like obvious things to do, but weren't doing them, we were able to reposition our firm. And as our reputation and as experts focused in servicing this market spread, our past clients became our sales force, referring us to industry colleagues, some of them even allowing us to videotape them, giving testimonials, and putting them on our website. Really, 10,000 hours? I remember Malcolm Gladwell, of course, coined it in Outliers, but it actually goes back 20 years before he ever used it. People have been talking about this 10,000-hour specialty thing, but a consultant we hired once asked us straight up, are you guys experts? Are you sure? Have you done your 10,000 hours? Holy crap. His point was a good one and required honesty and humility. Did we deserve the title specialist or expert? Were we faking it until we made it? I would say a bit of both. For us, our claim of expertise referred to having been engaged by dozens of built environment firms and working hard to recognize and capture the common challenges that these often partner-led organizations with old views of branding, marketing, and business development. Through repeated applications of our evolving process, we started to recognize patterns that allowed us to swiftly understand the realities these clients so often face and provide them with real value. Over time, we conducted hundreds of staff interviews and industry surveys and collected this data, allowing us to be more informed of the trends and issues in that sector, and not to mention the unique vernacular of that community, but also giving us something of value that we can share with prospects and clients. At this point, we've invested much more than 10,000 hours, but did it mean we had all the answers and didn't have to do the hard work? Absolutely not. We're still learning, but we now have the credibility and we're able to control our role as strategic consultant and expert. So, heading to the finish line here. What Specialization did for us was it opened doors. The success of our specialist positioning can be measured in frequent flyer miles, and I'm not kidding. Smart clients know what they need, and they have no qualms going further afield to find it, especially when prospects perceive us as not having equal in their geographic area. So we have effectively decommoditized our offering. It hasn't been easy, but we've managed to earn the credibility as deep experts, not only in applying brand strategy, naming, and design, but as change management consultants inside the AEC sector. For us, the benefits of transforming or transitioning to a focused practice have been a streamlined and repeatable process that can be systematized and taught, an easier time reaching key audiences and selling our services to them without having to give ideas away for free, higher rates and more emphasis on the design thinking we provide instead of just the output, less competition and broader reach, increased confidence, creativity, and innovation, deeper long-term relationships with clients who trust us and now act as our sales force, and happiness, satisfaction, and a stable business. Speaking of a stable business, we still take on clients from outside AEC. In fact, a large project we're working on right now is for a high-end outdoor apparel and product manufacturer that you all know. But we make sure that our marketing is firmly rooted in what we want to be known for, our ability to help built environment professionals realize brand and marketing potential. The irony about this story is that these days we frequently find ourselves advising our clients themselves to consider specialization, especially with architects who are design professionals themselves after all. When positioned as experts in a certain market or sector or building typology or technology, suddenly opportunities in other regions start to appear. Although RFPs and competitions aren't going away, their success increases as they become known for their superior skills and efficiencies, and we have lots of examples of this from our work. So where's the terror? Last slide. Where's the terror? Look, this process was not easy. It has taken years. We lost staff. I lost a business partner. It was expensive and it was time consuming. but it was worth it. There will always be naysayers who argue against specialization for a number of reasons. I'm not standing here suggesting this approach is appropriate for all design firms, but the design business has changed, and I predict it will only get harder. Designers who specialize are driven, focused business people who refuse to let business happen to them, but grab hold of their own destiny. With desirable clients who understand the value of specialization and are happy to pay for it. The best part, they'll give you the freedom you need to stay engaged in your profession and treat you like the creative, skilled partner that you are, not a replaceable vendor. And the word gets around. In the future, I believe the most successful firms will be with the greatest levels of business stability and growth will be the ones not afraid to stake a claim in a specialization in a meaningful way. Those fearful of saying no to projects and losing out on opportunities, even if not a core expertise, will keep things running, but will lose out on the benefits of a strong position and a distinctive reputation. Those firms able to demonstrate thought leadership, knowledge, and expertise will be best positioned to take advantage of these opportunities. I believe specialization can be a smart choice for any design firm. I'm not suggesting a radical shift for yours overnight, and I'm not saying you have to choose one kind of client to the exclusion of all others. You have a business to run, so make smart choices. If adjustments need to happen in order to thrive, then adjust. Who knows? Check back with me in a couple of years, and we may have shifted to a new specialization. Maybe we're working directly with the ID sector with you folks. Whatever it is, I know we'll be focused. One final lesson I learned. Narrowing your focus won't narrow your waistline, especially if you're a stress eater. Remember that famous Chicago designer I talked about from 10 years ago? A few weeks ago, we got a phone call from a large architecture firm down in Southern California, asked us to come down. We were one of 2 finalist firms being considered for a large renaming rebranding project. In the end, we won the work. When they told us who we were competing against, it was that firm, and they told us specifically the only reason they chose us was our deep expertise and knowledge of their sector. So there's proof that it works, and I hope I've given you something to think about, and you all can consider it in your own practice. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it.